On August 10th, 2019, the world woke up to news that should have been impossible. Jeffrey Epstein, the man who held secrets about the most powerful people on Earth, was found dead in his maximum security jail cell. The cameras malfunctioned, the guards fell asleep, and the one person who could expose an entire network of influence, corruption, and alleged abuse was suddenly silenced forever. Within hours, a phrase spread across the internet like wildfire: Epstein didn't kill himself. Not because anyone had proof, but because millions of people around the world no longer trusted the system to tell them the truth. Jeffrey Epstein was not just a financier. He was a connector, a facilitator, a man who built his empire not on products or services, but on relationships with the elite. He owned private islands, luxury mansions in Manhattan, Paris, New Mexico, and Palm Beach. His private jet, infamously nicknamed the Lolita Express, flew between continents carrying passengers whose names would later shock the world. Epstein moved in circles where billionaires, presidents, princes, scientists, and celebrities gathered. He was seen at exclusive parties, philanthropic events, and academic institutions. To the outside world, he was successful and well-connected. But behind the wealth and charm was something much darker. For years, allegations emerged that Epstein was operating a sophisticated trafficking network. Young girls, some as young as 14, were allegedly recruited, manipulated, and exploited. They were promised modeling opportunities, educational support, and financial help. Instead, they were trapped in a cycle of abuse that spanned decades and multiple countries. These were not random crimes. This was a system, organized, protected, and enabled by wealth, power, and silence. When Epstein was finally arrested in July 2019, investigators seized thousands of documents, emails, flight logs, phone records, photographs, and witness statements. These became known as the Epstein Files. And buried within those files were names. Names that made people stop and question everything they thought they knew about power and justice. One of the most prominent names to surface was former President Bill Clinton. Flight logs showed that Clinton flew on Epstein's private jet at least 26 times, according to records obtained by Fox News. Some of those flights included trips to Africa, Europe, and Asia, often without Secret Service detail. Clinton's spokesperson has stated that the former president knew nothing about Epstein's crimes and took those flights for charitable work related to the Clinton Foundation. He has never been charged with any crime. But his repeated presence in those logs, combined with photos of him with Epstein, raised questions that have never fully been answered. Then there was Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, and member of the British royal family. One of Epstein's accusers, Virginia Giuffre, publicly claimed that she was trafficked to Prince Andrew on 3 separate occasions when she was just 17 years old. A photograph emerged showing the prince with his arm around Giuffre, with Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's alleged accomplice, standing beside them. Prince Andrew denied the allegations in a disastrous BBC interview, claiming he couldn't have been at the location Giuffre described, because he was at a Pizza Express in Woking with his daughter. Public reaction was brutal. In 2022, Prince Andrew settled a civil lawsuit with Giuffre for an undisclosed sum, though he admitted no wrongdoing. The settlement, however, did nothing to restore his reputation. He was stripped of his military titles and stepped back from royal duties. Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's closest associate and alleged recruiter, was arrested in 2020. During her trial, more names appeared. Testimony revealed that Epstein and Maxwell had deep ties with academic institutions like MIT and Harvard. Witnesses described parties attended by prominent figures in science, finance, and media. In 2021, Maxwell was convicted on 5 counts, including sex trafficking of minors. She is currently serving a 20-year sentence. But many believe she knows far more than she has ever said. And the question remains, who else was involved? Former President Donald Trump's name also appeared in the files, not in flight logs, but in depositions and old interviews. Trump and Epstein were photographed together at parties in the 1990s and early 2000s. In a 2002 New York Magazine profile, Trump called Epstein a terrific guy and joked that he liked women on the younger side. Years later, after Epstein's arrest, Trump claimed he had a falling out with him and banned him from Mar-a-Lago. There is no evidence Trump flew on the Lolita Express or visited Epstein's island. But the connection existed, and in the court of public opinion, that was enough to raise suspicion. Other names mentioned in various court documents and witness statements include billionaire Leslie Wexner, founder of Victoria's Secret, who gave Epstein power of attorney over his finances, lawyer Alan Dershowitz, who has been accused by Giuffre and has vigorously denied all allegations, and even theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking, who attended a conference Epstein funded in the Caribbean. It is crucial to repeat, being named in these files does not mean guilt, but it does mean proximity. And proximity to Jeffrey Epstein is no longer something anyone wants to explain. So why were so many of these documents sealed for so long? Why did it take years, lawsuits, and public pressure to release even portions of the Epstein files? The answer lies in how the justice system treats the powerful differently. In 2008, Epstein was given a secret plea deal by then U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta, allowing him to plead guilty to only 2 state charges and serve just 13 months in a private wing of a county jail, where he was allowed to leave for work 6 days a week. That deal also granted immunity to any potential co-conspirators. Victims were never told. The deal was later ruled illegal, but by then, the damage was done. Acosta would go on to serve as Secretary of Labor under President Trump before resigning in 2019 after the Epstein case resurfaced. And then came Epstein's death. Found unresponsive in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan, cameras not working. Guards falsifying records, a man on suicide watch, suddenly not watched. The official autopsy ruled it suicide by hanging. But a private autopsy hired by Epstein's family suggested signs more consistent with strangulation. Whether it was suicide, murder, or negligence, the result was the same. The man who knew everything would never testify. Since then, more documents have been unsealed, slowly, reluctantly. In January 2024, a new batch of files was released, reigniting global attention. But even with these releases, large portions remain redacted. Names are blacked out, details are missing, and the full scope of Epstein's network remains hidden. The victims, women who were children when this began, have spent years fighting to be heard. Many have spoken out publicly, risking their reputations and safety to demand justice. But justice has been slow, incomplete, and selective. Epstein is dead. Maxwell is in prison. But what about the others? What about the men who flew on that plane, visited that island, and attended those parties? This is not a story about one man. This is a story about a system that protects the powerful and silences the vulnerable. It is about how money and influence can buy time, buy silence, and sometimes buy freedom. Jeffrey Epstein may be gone, but the secrets he kept are not. They are buried in sealed files, redacted pages, and the memories of those who were there. And as long as those secrets remain hidden, the question will continue to echo. Who else was involved? And will they ever be held accountable? The Epstein Files are not just documents. They are a mirror, reflecting a world where power operates in the shadows and justice is not blind. It simply looks the other way.